Good afternoon. My name is Olive Burrows and you're watching NTV at ONE. We start with news of the coronavirus and following an executive order by President Uhuru Kenyatta last week as a way of ensuring the country's preparedness on COVID-19. The isolation unit at the Mbagathi Hospital with a bed capacity of 160 is now complete and ready for use. The Health CS Mutahi Kagwe presided over that particular opening ceremony. Eunice Omolo is on ground and will be joining us shortly with an update on the heightened surveillance. Now, countries across the world have imposed extraordinary measures in a bid to contain the spread of the coronavirus disease. This epidemic has in turn affected the economies of the world, with many countries banning flights to and from affected nations. Many global sporting events have also been shelved, while the stock market has also plunged due to the increasing epidemic.
The COVID-19 epidemic has now seen Palestine declare a state of emergency. Palestinian Prime Minister announced a 30-day state of emergency commencing from Friday, 6th of March to combat and prevent the virus from spreading. The state has also put in place a tourist ban. Across the world, U.S. lawmakers passed an $8.3 billion emergency spending bill to combat the coronavirus on Thursday as the numbers of cases surged in the country's northwest with 12 deaths. The Senate gave sweeping bipartisan support to the funding 1 day after the White House passed the bill so that it could be quickly sent to the White House for signing by President Donald Trump. Tech firms like Amazon, Facebook and Google were telling employees to work remotely, as was Microsoft in nearby Redmond. Some schools in the state have also decided to close for a couple of weeks and hold classes online. Sports events, concerts and large gatherings have been cancelled across the world, including Google's annual developer conference, one of its most important events which was to be held in May. The International Olympic Committee said Tuesday it was pushing ahead with plans for the Tokyo Olympics kicking off in July. Europeans' football governing body likewise said the virus would not derail its championship in June and July. The Premier League has also announced that the pre-match handshakes between both teams and officials will not take place until further notice. The Irish Rugby Football Union has postponed the country's Six Nations fixture against Italy that was set for Dublin on March 7th due to the virus outbreak in northern Italy. Italy has ordered all major sporting events, including Top Flight Serie A football games, to be played without fans for 1 month. The first season of the NBA's Basketball Africa League, which was scheduled to tip off in Dakar, Senegal, on March 13th, has been postponed. Helen Aura, NTV.
Away from matters COVID, now we move on to matters security, and Mandera leaders are asking the government to expel foreign individuals and forces that are threatening the lives of residents of that county. Mandera Governor Ali Roba says that people were injured in an attack on Monday and one person succumbed to bullet wounds. They want the government to take action and secure the lives of Kenyans along the border.
It has become extremely difficult to balance between supporting our government's position and representation of the plight of our population who are involuntarily caught up in this conflict, making it impossible for us to keep quiet while our people are suffering. In the absence of any meaningful engagement by the national security managers with the leaders, we are left in a situation where the public has no guidance from their leaders and the national government. It is a very awkward position for any leader to be in, while the population look up to the leadership for answers. Such situation of hopelessness can be very frustrating, to say the least. We request the government to diffuse this tension and reassure the public of their safety and security.
Staying with the security situation up north, and bus operations in Marsabit have resumed after 3 weeks of paralysis. Now that follows the frequent attacks they've experienced. Transport, particularly in Moyale, had ground to a halt after the National Transport and Safety Authority issued that 3-week directive that no bus would be allowed movement, and that is without police escort. Mamu Ali expounds.
Moyale residents have urged the government to hasten the registration review of buses plying the Moyale-Nairobi route. Residents complain over the grounding of passenger buses plying the route following the NTSA decree.
For me today it has been difficult since I wanted to travel yesterday. I did not find the place Today it has been just during the last minute that we found the bus.
35 buses belonging to the Moyale Raha Sacco were affected by the ban over what the Sacco termed flimsy reasons. The only remaining buses, Moyale Liner and Crown Bus, have reportedly hiked their fares.
Initially we used to pay sometimes 1,700, 1,800, but right now the fare goes at 2,000. There is no bargaining. So people who cannot meet that, they will not travel.
The ban has consequently affected trade and transport for days now in the area, causing students who are on half-term holidays to get stranded. Residents are asking the NTSA to quickly consider their plight and lift the ban.
We also request the government to look into this issue. Those buses that are not traveling, let them meet all the standards required so that we continue getting the services. It's difficult for us right now.
Northeastern Regional Commissioner Nick Dalana and his Upper Eastern counterpart Isaiah Nakoru issued a ban on all buses that fail to comply with the NTSA standards and requirements. Among the requirements, spell was the compulsory police escort for the buses plying the terrorist attack-prone areas. Dalana reiterated that no bus will be permitted to operate on the route unless they adhere to the requirements. Mamo Ali, NTV, Marsabit.
Now, as I mentioned at the top, the Health CS Mutahi Kagwe opened the new an isolation unit at the Mbagathi Hospital as part of efforts or preparedness of the country as far as COVID-19, a coronavirus, is concerned. Eunice Omolo was covering that particular event. Eunice, we had the CS speak at length. What are some of the highlights of his statement?
We are here at the Mbagathi Hospital where CS Health Mutahi Kagwe has officially launched the isolation ward at Mbagathi Hospital. This is going to help in isolation and also treatment in the case where Kenya is going to perhaps report or to help in preparedness of a possible COVID-19 outbreak. At the same time, the CS has mentioned that if at all this capacity is not going to be enough to cater for the eventuality, there are plans that are underway to ensure that we're going to have a 300-bed capacity at the Kenyatta University Teaching and Referral Hospital. Other than that, he has requested or he has asked all the county officials to ensure that a similar setup like this is set up in each and every county, level 4 and level 5 hospital by 15th of this March. Furthermore, the government has banned international meetings and conferences within Kenya and has also urged Kenyans to avoid or not to attend international meetings of international nature, that is more than 15 people, to avoid the spread of coronavirus. And also the government still insists that they're continuing with the screening and testing of people who come into the country, and they're also going to put more focus on the borders of the country, especially in the western part of the country, or borders where Kenya seems to be at risk of the spread of coronavirus. We're going to be keeping you up to date with information in regards to the government preparedness of COVID-19 in the country.
Thank you, Eunice. Eunice Omolo speaking to us from the Mbagathi Hospital, where an isolation unit for any COVID-19 infections that may arise will be kept and quarantined away from the general public. Now, the recent ban of donkey slaughterhouses in the country by Agriculture CS Peter Munya has sparked protests in Mogotio sub-county in Baringo. Over 300 workers at Goldog Slaughterhouse in Baringo held demonstrations led by 2 employees at the company. Farmers in Kirinyaga have lauded the ban by the CS as they say that their donkeys were under threat of being stolen and slaughtered. But workers at the slaughterhouses say that they will lose their only source of employment. They are now appealing to the government to lift the 30-day ban which was issued 2 weeks ago.
Sisi ndio kampuni kubwa ya punda ambayo iko situated Kenya. Wakifunga, sisi wote tutaenda wapi? The county it's not ready to absorb so many people as this. Maybe it can take 10, 20 kulingana na uwezo ambao uko. But sisi zote hivi vile tuko hivi, kampuni yetu ndio inatuinua. Kampuni yetu ndio inatuwezesha kupiga hatua ya kila siku. Now we've come here. We want our governor pia yeye hausike katika kutusaidia.
Kuna ng'ombe zinaenda. Inachinjwa wapi? Mbona wasianza na hiyo slaughterhouse ya ng'ombe ambayo wanachinja? So kwa hivyo nataka kusema kwamba serikali wasichukulie maneno kiolela mambo ya vijana katika Kenya hii. Hii ndio njia moja ambayo tunataka tupongeze ule investor ambaye ameweza kuinvest Baringo hii. Na kama serikali walikuwa hawakutaka mambo ya hii cold docks, mbona walipatiana 18 ya hii kuchengwa?
More than 30 pubs operating without licenses in Kitengela town have been closed, and this is after a crackdown was conducted following a public outcry over the illegal pubs which have been mushrooming in corners of the town. The operation, led by the Alcohol Drinks Control Board and county officials, also saw illegal pub owners arrested. Rose Madhuku has more.
These pub owners in Kitengela town received unexpected guests early Thursday morning. Not their regular customers, but County and Alcohol Drinks Control Board officials who were there to carry out a crackdown which saw more than 30 pubs closed.
You realize even the county is losing a lot of resources because those outlets are not licensed and they're operating against our timing, and even the environment of taking this alcohol is not acceptable at all.
The locals have complained that the pubs open as early as 6 a.m. contrary to the law. According to the residents, most of the pubs are said to be owned by a handful of Kitengela police station officers who snubbed the crackdown.
Mimi ningeomba iishe kwa sababu vijana hawezi pata wanawake, hawezi pata mabibi. Bibi gani ataoleka na mlevi? Atampe nini?
The Alcohol Drinks Control Board has said that they will not relent on crackdown in all major towns. Those arrested will be arraigned in Kajiado Court later in the day. Rose Madhuku, NTV.
All civil servants will be registered on pension schemes by July this year. This is according to the Education CS, George Magoha, who says that the government plans to promote the industry by also integrating the informal sector. The CS was speaking during the launch of the 7th Annual Retirement Conference in Mombasa.
The government of the Republic of Kenya is on that trajectory, and any time from now, hopefully by July this year, every public civil servant will be contributing some percentage of his money, and the government will do the same.
The concern here is that if we do not have an avenue for the informal sector to join the saving for retirement, as a country, we are facing a very bleak future.
And with that, we take a break, but we'll be back before you know it.
We believe in working with you to find a way to get things done. We call this Africanacity.
Rashes again? Kiss Kids diapers. Kiss Kids, no rashes. Kiss Kids, no rashes. Bye-bye rashes. Buy diapers. Choose Kiss Kids.
New Blue Band Peanut Butter. Made with 100% pure peanuts. And a good source of omega-6. Grow healthy and happy kids with New Blue Band Peanut Butter.
Inakwambia bibi kuna mdenge fulani bibi hapo na nywele refu yani. Kuna ngoko fulani bibi amemechali yake hadi Sio jamaa ndo nana kutupinya mtu mbao. Mimi nimemjenga dhao. Gari ilikuwa salasa. Akaniambia nimjenge 17 na batina 30 yangu.
The way this position is tiring. Nimechoka.
Who's that? Ni shosho fulani hapa hivi.
Ati shosho.
Call for long at 1 shilling 50 cents to all networks.
Cartelo!
Dial star 544 hash to subscribe. Telkom, moving with you.
Building tips for high-rise buildings should be bought from reliable sources. Strength of the cement must be a minimum of 42.5. Sufficient curing time with constant pouring of water. Must be kept certified. Exactly 50 kilograms guaranteed in each bag.
Adding strength to Kenya's landmarks. Power for specialized constructions. Cementing the nation's future. Simba Cement, the strength and pride of Kenya.
Now also produced in Nakuru and Mombasa.
Africana City is taking challenges you face and turning them into opportunities. It's about pushing yourself. It's about trying to improve lives. For our families, our communities, for yourself and the people around you. For this generation and for all that follows. At APSA, we believe in working with you to find a way to get things done. And now we have a chance to create opportunities for the heroes of tomorrow. Join us in the Touch of Possibilities Run as we celebrate the bright future of Kenya. We love Africana City.
Now, prices of several commodities, mostly consumer goods, are set to go up courtesy of coronavirus. Now, one explanation being that most products are imported from China. Shida inataka kuingilia hapa kwa the people who love to take advantage of things, of every situation. Nimekuambia Githurai ni 300. Si hata unajua hii barabara tumetoa China. There's a time you fly, you can let the plane go. Inaitwa autopilot.
Autopilot, automatic pilot, yes.
Yeah.
But it's a computer.
There's a driver who did that on Jogoo Road. Alitoka akaacha watu waende.
Welcome back. You're watching NTV at ONE. My name is Olive Barrows. And now Optiven Foundation has partnered with private equity firm Fusion Capital to enable more than 8,000 needy students from 20 counties across Kenya to access better education. A 2 million shillings injection by Fusion Capital into Optiven Foundation Soaring Eagles scholarship program will further boost the foundation's day schools intervention program that seeks to initially empower 20 students per day school, from 20 day schools in 20 counties, 2020.
We all know and we come from challenging backgrounds. Poverty has a way of becoming a stumbling block to the African child getting proper education, where families struggle with basic things such as shelter and food, and they struggle with drunkenness, they struggle with divorce, they struggle with floods and calamities that come our way. One of the easiest things that gets sacrificed is education. So that those children are sent to fend for the families.
The future of this nation is in TVET. Right now there are so many graduates that are out there and jobs are not forthcoming. And when these guys are propelled by the foundation to have a skill, something happens. They are able to start their own businesses, they are able to run their own lives, and you can be able to add value to this nation.
As the world prepares to mark International Women's Day on Sunday, the 8th of March, a group of women will convene in Nairobi to discuss how we can create a more equitable workspace, or rather more equitable workspaces. And joining me now to shed more light on this conversation and why it's important is Nyambura Mundia, the founder convener of Women Leaders Hangout. Welcome to NTV at ONE, and Millicent Otieno, who is the convener Mothers of the Nation. I'll start with you, Nyambura. What is an equitable workspace?
Well, I would say, first of all, context. An equitable workspace, if I was to define it, it would be a place where everyone has an equal chance to both equal wages or equal salary, equal promotion by merit, and also the necessary support that an individual would need. Yeah, that's what I would say an equitable workspace would mean. like if there's specific needs for women, then those are looked at the workspaces. If women need flexi time because they take care of kids, then the working space or the workplace should be able to bring those into consideration. And so also with fathers, because if I say that, it looks like fathers do not need an equitable workspace, or generally anyone.
Okay.
So it's where if anyone can access the workspace, but also bring their whole potential in it.
Okay. So you've talked of equal pay and flexi time. I mean, do you have numbers to back that is not presently the case?
So at entry level, both male and female, women are still paid 22% less. So for every 100 shillings a Kenyan man will make, a woman will make about 69 or so about. So, and for every, Oxfam recently did a research, and for an average woman in Kenya without help, women tend to spend 11.2 hours in care roles, plus 8 hours at work. So you realize literally there's no time compared to, there's no time left for them to do anything in terms of career progress or do other things a human being should do. And that is compared to men who only take 2.2 hours of care roles in terms of work, unpaid domestic work. So when you say that, even from the go, when we leave to go to work, it's that I have another full-time job waiting for me.
At home?
Yeah, at home. And that is not factored in my 8 hours of work. So how are we talking about that? All those things come into play.
Okay.
Yeah, in terms of career-life balance, if we ever get there.
Okay, Millicent, there is an event which is coming up tomorrow, actually,
yes,
isn't it?
Yes.
At Lavington?
Yes.
And so who are some of those who will be speaking, and what is the objective of this meeting?
Well, thank you very much for that question. I think first and foremost, the objective of this meeting is to create a space where the ladies can get together and share and also leverage on each other's strength. And first and foremost, it's not easy to find spaces also for venting. As Nyambura has said, you know, as ladies, you look at all these challenges we have at our workplaces, and sometimes when you go home, your husband is probably not the right person to share with. And those of us, not everybody is married, by the way, and there's so many of us young ladies who are yet to be in those kind of relationships. And as we meet together, we synergize and we look for opportunities to strengthen each other, to build each other up, and also to go against the grains. They always say that women are each other's enemy. The hangout is the space to show that we are actually not each other's enemies, but each other's strength. So basically, networking, finding opportunities, and building each other so that we can grow together.
Okay, so this is the third, if I'm not mistaken, Women Leaders Hangout.
Yes.
So, and where is it exactly, and how do women register? So that it's what, 1,500 shillings?
Yes.
So
the event is at Lavington, it didn't close. It's an outdoor event, so I asked the ladies to not wear the heels because it's going to be an easy time. It starts from 9 to noon before the sun gets out, and so we can extend and have wine after that. But it's curated to be a very easy time where, beyond networking with, because we'll also have HR agencies who can objectively talk about technical HR issues in the country, low wages, all those things, is that we try and make sure that the event also caters for other things like health, you know, I mean, recipes, good wine. So it's, and everything that a woman is not able to access because of what I pointed out in terms of career-life balance, we try and offer a space that allows you to be able to network henceforth.
Okay, so this initiative is part of Usawa Inc.'s plan to empower women so that there's more the workspaces are more equitable. Tell me a little bit about Usawa.
So Usawa, as I earlier spoke about the data that we have, that we say gender equality is coming up, and it's becoming, I would say, rhetoric, where we talk about these things. So it almost like it's you know, Women's Day, people already know about gender equality, but when you look at the numbers, they're not matching. The last piece that you did had access to education. So yes, women have gone to school, and most of us have a master's. But in terms of entry to work, it's not happening. And even when we get to the entry level, we don't proceed to management levels as quickly as our male counterparts. And so what are the conversations? Is it because there's implicit bias? Is it because gender roles in Kenya and other spaces, cultural norms are still very restrictive? Do we see leadership in a very masculine way that make, women not fit for some of these positions? Because 5% for what we call the C-suites positions, that is the CEO position, is still very little, for women who, at this point, we match with the men in terms of access to education. So it's having conversations with companies. It's also having conversations with young women who are at the entry level to make sure that they have the tools that they need to make their career journey easier.
Okay, so Millicent, is it that women are not going after these positions? Are we too passive? We're talking about cultural norms, or is there? She also talked about implicit bias.
True. I mean, it would be really wrong to characterize women as not going for those positions, and I think we all know that the bar is always raised much higher for the women. They demand 20 times more than they demand from the men. For example, I'll just start with the very obvious bias that for a woman even to get an ID, you need your father's ID or your husband's ID. So already the obstacles.
Is that still the case?
It is still the case, and that needs to be repealed. But coming to the job market, the women are actually going for these positions, but there's just a skewness in the system itself. As you rightfully said, the patriarchy is still always favoring men over the women. And the risks and the challenges that sometimes the young women face is sometimes people even demand sexual favors. They just don't look at you for the brains and what you're bringing to the table, but sometimes you are even objectified as a sex object or as somebody who does not need to, like you don't merit it. So these are some of the challenges, and I think the Hangout provides a space where people can say, how are you able to overcome it? And we want to encourage those who are scared to put themselves up, because they feel they will be, they will be let down or they will be rejected from the onset. We are saying, please take your credential, get out there, and if it's education you need, please take all the opportunities to further yourself and make yourself better, because you're worth it, you can do it, and you can even do better. Sometimes even better than the men.
All right, there you have it. So the event takes place tomorrow in Lavington at Eden Close, starting at 9 a.m. to noon. You've been advised, do not wear your stilettos because you may sink into the ground. But you will be hearing, there will be networking opportunities, wine drinking perhaps. There will also be the opportunity to hear from women who've broken through that glass ceiling, learn from them how to negotiate, even interact with HR professionals on how to negotiate better terms for yourself in the workplace. All right, and with that, we transition to the sports news.
All right, thank you so much, Olive. Indeed, a lot to learn as well from us on the other side. And moving on, the coronavirus global crisis has claimed a major sporting casualty in the country as the next week's Magical Kenya Open has been postponed due to health concerns posed by visitors entering the country from affected regions. This was announced by Health Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe at the launch of an isolation unit for coronavirus victims at the Mbagathi Hospital.
Events that are only for Kenyans, that don't involve people from outside Kenya, are continuing normally. The Beyond Zero race, for example, on Sunday, we will be there. We will be running with Her Excellency the First Lady. We are backing her, and I invite all of you also. But events that involve persons from outside Kenya are the ones we are referring to. And I particularly want to say how sorry we are that the Kenya Open that was supposed to be at Karen because the European tour, that you involve Europeans, people coming from Italy, Germany, and other centers, that cannot continue. And we have to postpone it for the period that I have said, for at least a month, so that we can monitor and see and weigh how things are going on.
Very unfortunate there, and we'll be monitoring that as well. And day 2 of the second leg of the Athletics Kenya's Track and Field series is currently ongoing at the Kasarani Stadium. The finals of the events from the 20-kilometer walk race to field events such as hammer and pole vault, along with track events that include relays, mean that athletes can fine-tune themselves and their performances for the season ahead. Many track athletes are not running in their specialties as they aim to build on their fitness and endurance. The championship ends today before taking a 2-week break and resuming with the meet in Embu on March 22nd to 23rd, with final leg being held in Kisumu in early April. And there shall be free entry for 2021 Africa Cup of Nations qualification match between Kenya and Comoros, set for 25th March at the Kasarani Stadium. This follows a 3 million shillings partnership between Football Kenya Federation and online betting firm Betika. The move is aimed at creating an enabling atmosphere for Stars to yield a positive result against the Islanders, who top the Group G standings on 4 points. Harambee Stars lie second after draws with Egypt and Togo. Francis Kimanzi will miss the services of various foreign-based players as their travel is considered risky due to the spread of coronavirus in Europe and Asia. And Nigerian Odion Ighalo continued his red-hot form, scoring twice as Manchester United eased to a 3-0 win at Derby and into the quarter-finals of the FA Cup. Wayne Rooney's presence in the Derby team dominated the build-up, but Luke Shaw's opener and a goal in each half from Ighalo took the game away from the championship side. The win extends United's unbeaten run to 9 games, and with the last 8 tie against bottom club Norwich City to look forward to there will be hope of an FA Cup glory in May. In the other cup, that is quarterfinals tie, Sheffield United face Arsenal, Leicester City.
To travel to Paraguay on false documents?
I don't know, it's business, but then, you know, it's a matter of how they got the passports, because his passports were taken due to his issues with the court.
Ah, okay.
Yep.
Right, and that winds up NTV at 1. NTV Al Asiri comes your way at 4 p.m. My name is Olive Burrows. Enjoy the rest of the viewing.